How are you today? Good afternoon.
I'm doing well. Happy to be here.
Well, thanks so much for volunteering your time today and sharing a lot of good information about online presence. Everybody, this is Caitlin Wolf. She's in business development for homes.com. I'm sure you're all familiar with that very successful portal that directs all of the leads directly to the listing agent. So you may be interested to know that Caitlin's been in the industry for over 6 years in industry development, but she has been in the real estate industry overall for over 10 years. She was with Lone Wolf before, and y'all may be familiar with that name. They purchased the Transaction Desk and Authentisign platforms, I think, a little over a year ago, I think. And so Caitlin, welcome. And tell us a little bit about what you're getting ready to say today, and I'll leave it with you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. Yeah, Homes.com, we've had a great partnership with Hilton Head MLS for quite some time now. So we're super excited to be here, and just thank you guys so much for having us. So yeah, I'm excited to talk to you guys today during my 30 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen actually, so we can, okay, it just looks like I'm not able to share it yet. So I don't know if Rochelle, if you can hear me, but I might just need to beat a little click on your end so I can share my screen. But I'm excited to talk with you guys today about your online presence and specifically your digital handshake. So going through what that online digital handshake means and sharing that with you guys. So let me see if I can, yeah, here we go. All right, perfect. So Colette, are you seeing my screen okay?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. Okay. So in going through this, I want to show you guys, why your online presence is so important. So this is something that a lot of this stuff that might not be new to you. We've always known that our online presence is important, but even more so now than ever. So we're going to dive in today again during this 30 minutes and talk about why your online presence is so important, and then specifically what this digital handshake is. So really, due to this pandemic, we've been thrown into this virtual world, and we had to adapt to a lot of these things overnight and develop new skills and things like that. So now that we've had some time to kind of adapt to this, kind of get used to this new virtual world, it's time to take a look at really how strong our online presence is, because that's how consumers are really connecting with us. And then this virtual world is kind of going through this whole process of not just online, but then now with our meetings, like today, these virtual events or video conference calls. So it's a whole new virtual world that we're kind of living in. So in terms of our goal for today, I want to first talk about your online presence, why it's important. Again, a lot of this isn't going to be new to you guys. You've known this for a while, but we're going to really dive into how Google finds you online. So how you are popping up when a consumer is searching for agents within Hilton Head or agents within your brokerage, things like that. So how is Google finding you? So we're going to talk about EAT, and I'm not trying to make you guys hungry before lunch or anything, but we're going to dive into what that means. And then the do's and don'ts of video conferencing, because again, this is a virtual world that we're living in right now. And video conferencing has become a large part of it. So our face-to-face interactions are limited. Of course, I'd love to be out with you guys today in your market talking to y'all face-to-face, but we can't do that right now. So we're having to do more video conferencing. We're going to dive into that, some of the do's and don'ts to video conferencing. And then of course with Homes.com, obviously I want to show you guys how your profile, how your information is being displayed on Homes.com, and some things you can do utilizing the free tools you have through Homes Connect to build a strong online presence on Homes.com. But keep in mind, I'm going to show you that at the end in talking about Homes.com, but I want to talk about your online presence as a whole. So not just doing these things on Homes.com, but doing it across all platforms. So let's dive into it. So why is your online presence so important? Again, we've known this for a long time. We know consumers start their search online. That's how they start the process. But even now, more than ever, it's become even more important. So some of these things we might be used to. So 2/3 of home buyers, they research agents extensively online. So they're going online first and they're finding all of your information. They're seeing what's being displayed, your photo, your contact information. And really in this digital world, you're being judged online and you might not know it. So they're really putting you through this full interview process online without you knowing it. So we need to make sure that what's being displayed online is just as strong as it were to be if they were to talk to us face to face. Because really, we have a better chance of connecting with these consumers if they can find us online, and not just find us, not just find, you know, a photo of us, but also find information that makes them want to engage with us. So how does this all start? Well, it starts here at the good old search engine of Google. This is where consumers begin their interview process. They go online, they either get referred your name and they search your name, or they need to find an agent within this area, and they go online first and they start the process. So how do we tell Google that we're someone that needs to be brought up on Google? How does Google find us? And that's a little bit tricky because this is a competitive industry that you're in. I know a lot of you are listening in today. You're all amazing real estate agents. So how are you competing with one another to be found on Google? And that's what brings us to EAT. And again, no, I'm not talking about this kind of EAT, not trying to make you guys hungry. What I'm talking about is I'm talking about expertise, authority, and trust. Now, these are skills that you guys have already developed. You've spent your entire career developing and acquiring these skills. You're good at this. You're good at telling someone in person that you are an expert. You're good at showing authority. You're good at identifying yourself as someone that they can trust. They know that. That's why you have this great client database. That's why you have these past clients. That's how you engage with new clients. But now that all of this is happening online, we need to tell Google that we're someone who is the expert, that we have authority, and that we're someone that consumers can trust. Because Google is looking for the same three things when pulling out who they should pull up on Google when someone's searching within your area or within your brokerage and things like that. So let's break this down a little bit. So first is expertise. So obviously this is someone who's very knowledgeable about or skillful in a particular area. So we're talking about real estate. So if I asked you, are you an expert within real estate? You would say, yes, of course you are. You're good at this, you know it, you know, like the back of your hand, you are an expert within the real estate industry. But does Google know that? Because you need to be the expert, but then you also online need to communicate this knowledge in a way that engages with people. So once they go online, they find your name, they start reading information about you, you need to show that you're someone who is the expert. Because once they've identified you as the expert, they're going to want more from you. They need their questions answered. They want to have those phone calls. They want to set up those video calls. You're the experts. They need you. They need you in this process. But again, you need to tell Google that you're the expert first. Next is authority. So this is the power or right to give orders, make decisions, and enforce obedience. So some of this might not transition necessarily over into the real estate industry, but you are someone of authority. You are the person that's making these decisions, that's dealing with these contracts, with these negotiations, and you're doing this for your clients. They don't know enough about this process to be the one to make those decisions, so they're looking at you. Not only are you the expert, but you are of authority to make these decisions for them. So again, you can do this in person, but you need to tell Google, you need to show Google that you are an authority. And especially within your market, showcase that you're a market authority. You know your area, you know your schools, you know your neighborhoods. So be that market authority and showcase that online so Google identifies you as that market authority. And then last but not least is trust. So this is a firm belief in the reliability, truth, or ability of someone or something. So I know today we're talking about business relationships, but as you know, relationships in general are built off of trust. We know that. That's how we identify relationships with other people, is if we can trust them. This is huge within the real estate industry, especially with those, you know, first-time home buyers, those people who are new to this process. They're going to put the trust in you. You're the expert, you're showing authority, and they want to just trust you with these big decisions. So you need to really showcase that you are someone that they can trust, and do this throughout the different areas they can find you online. So again, if you're talking to these people in person, if they're putting you through an interview process and they're sitting right in front of you, it's easy for you to identify yourself as someone who is the expert, authority, trust. You're already so good at that in person. But we need to go back now and tell Google that. And we do that through our online presence. So I want you guys to ask yourself a few things as we go through this today. First thing is, can clients find you online? So maybe it's been a little while, but go online and Google yourself. Google yourself, Google agents within your area, break it down. Try and see if you're popping up on Google. Can clients find you? And then what do they find? What is popping up? Is it accurate information about yourself? Is it up-to-date photos? Is it up-to-date links to other websites? Is it your right social channels? What are they finding when they search your name? And now think to yourself, we've all been consumers. We've all sat in that seat before. We've all vetted someone online and tried to figure out if we want to work with them, whether it be a contractor, a hairdresser, or a mechanic. We go online first and we try and find the best person to work with. So think to yourself, what drove you away from someone online? What were things that you didn't like that made you go towards somebody else? And then what drove you towards someone online? What made you think that, wow, this person is definitely the expert, they're of authority, I trust them, I'm going to reach out. And then once you've identified those, think to yourself, are you doing these same things with your own online presence? So let's talk about current trends, because I've mentioned that this online presence, a lot of this stuff we've already talked about so far, a lot of it's not new to you guys. You've known for a long time you need to be found online, you need to have that website, you need to have those social media channels. But there are things that are different now that makes this even more important. The first thing being physical interaction. This is limited. Look at us today. We're in a virtual event. We're not able to have those face-to-face interactions like we used to. So more things are happening online. So we don't have that opportunity to tell these consumers more about ourselves. They're just still finding that all out online. And then things like a handshake. A handshake in business really provides that trust that this is going to be a good business relationship, but we're not able to have those handshakes. Those handshakes are now digital handshakes. And what is a digital handshake? It is your profile. It is what is being found online. That is what's providing these consumers with that comfort that this is going to be a good business relationship and when they find those things online. So I want to break it down for you guys today and show you how to create a strong digital handshake, because again, right now, this is a competitive industry. Does your digital handshake stack up against others? Not only are you being found on Google, but is what they're finding accurate? Do you have a strong digital handshake that really showcases who you are, the same as if they were to talk to you face-to-face or engage with you in person? It's the same kind of process online. So we're going to dive into the different levels to building that strong digital handshake today. But two things I want you guys to keep in mind throughout this that are really important, especially when building that online profile or the online presence. And it's making sure we're being consistent and authentic. Consistency is extremely important because this is making sure that no matter where these consumers are finding us, we're showcasing the same information. We're being consistent across all platforms. We're having the same links out to the same social media channels, the same websites. But no matter where they find you, not only is it the same information, but they're not missing out on any information about you. We want to make sure we're being consistent. And then, of course, authentic. This is important too, because we want to make sure that what we're posting online through things that are happening on social media, on our websites, that we're being authentic. We're showing who we really are, because eventually you are going to have a conversation with these consumers. They are going to reach out to you. So making sure we're being authentic online and then continuing that throughout the process when they're engaging with us through phones or video calls. So those are really important things to keep in mind as we're working to build our digital handshakes. So the first step to these digital handshakes would be your contact information. This is a good thing to kind of write down and check off as you're going through, Googling yourself and seeing what's popping up. So your contact information, is it up to date? Is it showing the correct business name? Is it showing the current address, your current phone number? The contact information oftentimes is getting pulled from different places where you might look at something and be like, I don't know where they got that phone number. So you need to make sure you're aware of what's being out there, what's being displayed, update it if it needs to be updated, and then do it across all platforms. Especially with your phone number and email address, those are ways that these consumers are going to be engaging with you. So if that's not up to date, if a consumer picks up the phone and calls a number that they see on your profile page and it's no longer active, that's definitely a pain point that's going to pull them away from you, because it kind of shows that you're not a real person. That's something that's going to scare them off. Or an email, if they send out an email and that email is returned or just goes unanswered, again, those are pain points that would drive you away from somebody. So let's make sure all of our contact information is updated and it's updated across all platforms. The next thing, and really the first step to showcasing that you are someone that these consumers can trust, is through your agent photo. So this is really important because not only is it a way for you to identify yourself as someone that they can trust, but it also helps to build that relationship online. So if you Google yourself and if anywhere you're finding a photo like this being displayed, what does that do? Nothing. That doesn't help these consumers in any way. They don't even know who you are. That's another pain point that's going to drive them away from you because you look like you're not real. It's not, you don't have a photo there, so they feel like this is not a real person. If you're finding a photo that looks more like this, a great photo. I'm sure this woman, she did great in the 80s when she had this headshot taken. There's the glam, I can see her eyes, but we want to make sure that we're showcasing updated photos, that we are being authentic and consistent with what's being displayed. So we need to update our photos every 5 to 10 years. Again, we are going to eventually engage with these people, and we want to build that trust. So when they see us through video, we want to be the same person that they just saw online. So making sure we have updated photos. Relevant photos. This is also really important. We're trying to showcase that we're the expert within our industry. So this is a real estate photo, but it's a little bit confusing. I might not think of her right away as helping me to buy or sell a home. I might think, okay, she might be a good person to call for my 2-year-old's birthday party if I need a ventriloquist or something like that. So making sure that we're being relevant with the photos that we're displaying. Now, your agent's photos, you want to be professional, of course, but you don't want to have to think about this too much because not only is it a way for us to build that trust and build those connections, but it's a way for us to also identify ourselves as the local expert. So, of course, these are all great examples of photos where we're seeing their eyes, which help to build that trust. It's not super professional. And even where you're located in Hilton Head, I mean, that's more of a vacational spot for some people, but you're also by the water, by boat. So if you want to take a photo where you are by the water or you are on a boat and you're not just in an office in a button-up or a suit, that's okay because you're showing that you're the local expert within your area. It's okay to be by the water. Same with, we have agents that are in Wyoming and work on a ranch or live on a ranch. So their photos, they have cowboy hats on. And that's perfectly acceptable because that's what these consumers want to see. You are the local expert. You know a lot about this. I can tell by your cowboy hat. So think about that as you're trying to identify the perfect headshot or the perfect photo. Again, we just want to find ways to help build that trust, showcase our eyes, they can see your face. And then once we have that photo decided, make it the same photo across all platforms. Again, that consistency is really important. Next is going to be your agent bio. So this really is that chunk of information that really tells these consumers who you are. So that provides them with that, warm, welcome, handshake. I am the expert. I am of authority, and I'm someone that you can trust. You can really dive into your bios a little bit here. So what does your bio say about you currently? Does it show that you are the local expert? Does it show that you're a problem solver? So some misconceptions with our bios is that we oftentimes just go on and we just talk about ourselves, maybe how long we've been in the industry, the awards that we've won. Those are all great things because it does showcase that you're an expert, but we also want to talk about what we've done for others and how we can help them solve their problems. So really dive into that to add in those specific stories as far as what you've done for your other clients and how you can help them. That's going to set yourself apart from other people. And again, tell Google that you are of an expert, you are of authority, and you're definitely someone that they can trust through what you're writing out in your bio. They're going to pull out those keywords to pull you up on Google. The next thing to building that strong online presence is going to be your social presence. So this is a really great way to engage with consumers via social because we talk about a profile. That's a lot of just kind of standard information where we have our photo, our contact information, our bio. We're not able to provide a lot of real-time activity. So that's where you can do that on your social channels and start adding in posts about the market, about the industry, what's going on in your area. And that's really going to identify you as not only the expert, but someone who they can trust because you're active online. So with your social presence, first and foremost, identify the social channels that you want to be on and then be on them. Be consistent, be authentic with your posts. If you have a Facebook business page because you were told 10 years ago or so that you needed one, but you haven't actually posted on it, that's not one we want to have active, because we don't want someone to stumble onto that Facebook business page and see nothing and then have that be a pain point that's going to deter them away from us. So decide what social channels you want to be on and then be on them. And then we can share those across all of these profiles so that when they land on your profile page on, for example, homes.com, they can click on your Facebook link and it takes them right to your Facebook business page where they're seeing all those other up-to-date posts and things you're talking about, and they're wanting to engage with you more. It's also a great way to provide that kind of satisfaction. Again, with consumers, I know I've experienced this before. If we're online and we're seeing a profile and we see all this great information, there's a lead form next to it. Sometimes we're a little nervous about those lead forms. We don't know if this is the actual person that's going to follow up with us. But if I can click on a Twitter icon or a Facebook icon and I can see that you posted just a few minutes ago or an hour ago, that does show me that you're an actual live person. And I feel more comfortable engaging with you because I know who's going to respond to my inquiries. So a great way to really build not only your online presence, but to engage with consumers. Google also loves up-to-date information. So if you're adding content to your social media channels, that's just doing a really great job with telling Google that you're active. The last thing here, last but certainly not least, is our online reviews. So again, let's go back to our consumer chair we've all sat in before. We've all utilized online reviews, whether it be buying a TV or ordering from a new restaurant or watching a new movie. Even if we watched the trailer to that movie and it looks like something we would love, we still need to go online and find the reviews. We still need someone to tell us that this is a good decision. It's not a waste of time. It's not a waste of money, that you're gonna like this decision. That has become so important within the real estate industry and so important with your online presence. Inman actually posted an article that said 99% of consumers utilize online reviews when determining who they want to work with as their real estate agent. So that's practically everybody, 99%, they go online, they see your photo, your bio, all of your information, it all looks great, and you're someone that they want to connect with, but they still need someone else to tell them, hey, this person is great. They are the experts. You can definitely trust them. They helped me. So they still need those reviews. So reviews are going to happen. I know for you guys, none of you have reviews like this, but negative reviews, obviously that's a pain point. That's going to drive you away from somebody. If you go online and you see negative reviews, then that's probably not someone that you're going to want to work with. I know this isn't the case for you guys. So we want to post those happy reviews, those positive reviews. We want to get them and then post them across all platforms so these customers are really seeing who we are. Let your past clients tell the story. Let them tell these new consumers why they should want to work with you. So how do we get these reviews? How do we get these positive reviews? Well, we need to get our happy clients to post reviews. So this would just be part of your process in your day-to-day with your transactions, with these business relationships, is that this is a step that you need to take, because oftentimes our happy clients, they're not thinking to write a review. It doesn't mean that they didn't enjoy the process, or they wouldn't recommend you to somebody else, or that they didn't love working with you. They just don't think of it right away. For me, when we bought our first home, we had a great experience with our real estate agent. I loved her. She was amazing. But once we purchased our first home, I was so focused on this new purchase that we have made. We were kind of basking in this glory, this excitement, this nervousness. I wasn't thinking to go online and write her a positive review. It wasn't until a few days later that she reached out to us and she was like, hey, would you guys mind writing me a review? And I was first a little embarrassed, but then also more than happy to do it. So we need to ask our happy clients to post reviews, and then we need to display them across all channels so that no matter where these consumers are finding us, they're also seeing these reviews because we know they're going to want to look at them. So we've gone through the whole process here of being found online. Again, identifying that we are someone who is the expert, that we are of authority, and that we can trust. We're telling Google that through this digital handshake. Now these consumers, they want to engage with us. They fill out those lead forms. They send us an email, they call us, and now it's time to meet with them. Unfortunately, with our current trends, these meetings aren't looking like this right now. We're not able to have those face-to-face interactions. So we're still having to adapt to these current trends and kind of go into this change where these first meetings are looking more like this. So these video conferencing, these are tools that we're not maybe used to, and don't feel very comfortable doing these. I know for me, I'm way better at talking to you guys in person, being in front of an audience and talking to you guys out face to face. So it's harder to adapt to things where you're doing it behind a computer screen. So you might not feel as confident, but you are. You need to be the expert. Again, we've already identified that online. So now, even within this process here, we need to showcase that we are the expert, that we are showing authority, and that we're someone that they can trust, even though we're still behind a computer screen. So let's dive into the do's and don'ts of video conferencing. Again, I'm sure you guys are already well versed in this. You've been doing these for a few months. You've done those virtual open houses, things like that. But let's just go through a few reminders here. So the do's. So some good things to do prior is test out your internet, camera, mic beforehand. Again, these are things that we don't really feel comfortable with. This Zoom or these FaceTimes, they're not skills that we've acquired over throughout our career. These are new skills we had to get used to. So if you don't feel that comfortable with it, test things out beforehand so that when you have these first meetings, you look like the expert, you look like you're comfortable. So make sure your internet's working, make sure your camera's working, make sure these are all working beforehand. Even if you need to test out with a family member to make sure everything looks great, do that so that you're ready for those first interactions with your clients. Check your background. So this is new to us. We're not at an office. We're working from our homes mostly. So we have to think about the things around us because we're giving them a little insight into our homes. So things like, is your wall art appropriate? Questions you've never really had to ask yourself before, but now that we're talking with these clients, we have to think about that. Do we have a clean desk? Minimal distractions? It's important. Oftentimes with our backgrounds, if we have too much going on, then they're going to focus on what's behind you and not what you're saying to them. So think about that background. For me, we're in the process of rearranging our rooms because we're getting ready for baby number 2. So in my office, it's very bare right now, but it kind of works. There's not a whole lot of distractions for me in here. So just think about what's behind you. So again, these consumers can focus directly on you. Finding a quiet place with minimal noise. Now, this is something we've all kind of grown accustomed to. We know the doorbell is going to ring, those Amazon packages are going to be delivered, dogs are going to bark, kids might walk in. These are things that in this virtual world we've become used to. So your clients, if stuff like that happens, they're going to be okay with it. But try and avoid it because it doesn't necessarily create a distraction for them, but it creates a distraction for you. I know for me, if the doorbell rang, I might lose train of thought with what I was saying because I got so nervous about that happening that I might lose my train of thought. So try and go in a place where there are minimal distractions so you can really focus on them and get your point across and not have those distractions come up. Make sure the room is well lit, things like that, so they can see your beautiful face, the same face that they saw online in your photos. So just some things to kind of go through and check off prior to your meeting. Some don'ts. So again, I'm sure none of you guys have to worry about these things, but some don'ts. Being at home has obviously created a kind of a more relaxed style. We're not having to put on, dresses and heels and pants and suits as often as we used to. But for these business meetings, even though we're behind a computer, don't look sloppy. Look the same that you would as if they came into your office. That's just showing that you respect them, you respect your time, but you're also still carrying those skills of showing that you're the expert. You are of authority and you're someone that they can trust.
Hi, Caitlin.
Even if they're, hi.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Sorry to interrupt you, but unfortunately that is all the time that we have for today. I'll give you a moment just to wrap up. We've got to move into our next session.
No worries. Okay, so yeah, these are just some of the don'ts. But again, all great things. Again, I just want to kind of leave you with this quote here. In times of change, learners inherit earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. So just want to leave you with this because this is important. Obviously, we're talking about this current trends right now, but these are skills that aren't going to just benefit you now, but also in the future. People are still going to want to do things online. They're still going to want to search online. So it's important to dive into this now because they're just going to benefit you even more so in the future. So I apologize for going a little over there. I really appreciate your time today, guys. I love being here with you. I'll share some information with Rochelle and Colette if you want to follow up with any of this. I hope you guys have a great rest of your virtual event. So thank you.